It's a privilege to be meeting on the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation on the banks of the Derbarl Yerrigan, our beautiful river. So to commence, please join me in welcoming Vaughn McGuire to the podium so that we can pay our respects to the first custodians and acknowledge their ongoing connection to this beautiful country. As the nation's first geologists, the traditional owners recognise that the geological features of this land are more than rock and soil. They are part of living stories that connect people, place and time. Vaughn is a senior Whadjuk Marman dedicated to the culture, knowledge and history of his people. Thanks, Vaughn.
Thank you. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's just always a privilege to be standing here on my grandmother's, my demaka mamaka's country, grandmother's and grandfather's country, in welcoming people from all parts of Western Australia, sometimes all over the world, and but to come here to pay the respects to the First Nations people who've occupied this land for over 45,000 years of a continuous culture, still alive, still lives within me. Basically, as I always like to put it, straight from the horse's mouth, my father. He always spoke to my brothers and I and told us that it's actually very, very important that we always hold our cultural knowledge and keep it inside. He refused to actually write our language because he believed that our language was never a written language. And the only reasons why Dad would actually say that to us is to get us to sit down and listen to him, because there's nothing better than being told the language and taught the language by word of mouth than to have it written. And to me, I can clearly understand that, because language written down, a lot of people these days walking and talking a true traditional language, first of all, don't really have an understanding of it, the meanings of language itself, the reasons why our old people spoke it. In different parts of Western Australia, as you'd well know, there are different tribes and clans. The Eastern Goldfields, as Robin just said, with that region is the local Wagatha people of the Western and Eastern Desert. And they speak a totally different language than the Whadjuk people. The word Nyunga actually means a black man. It doesn't mean a race of people. The word Kaya actually means you're agreeing with someone. So it doesn't mean hello, to give some people bad news. The reasons why we know it actually says it's agreeing with someone is when we used to go and see my grandmother. Dad would say, Yarnba, with his hands and his mouth speaking. And grandmother would say, Yarn, where are you going, Troll? Well, he was his name, but Troll they called him. So, where do you balapakoling? Nunok mortwa, kulankas, and, messes and things. And Dad would just say, oh, we come to see you, Can we come into your house, have a cup of tea, a mark? Can we sit down and wāngai? Can we speak? And grandmother would say, kaya, kaya. So kaya actually means yes. It's a bit hard that, years of the language has actually been taught throughout the schooling of the education system so far. And a lot of our next generation are actually speaking our language with no real understanding of what they're saying. And the reasons why I understand it's so important, because when you're speaking language and you're on Whadjuk country, or whether you be in Wangatha country or Ngalama Banjaba Yindibadi people country, Gidja country, right up to the top end, you must learn how to speak the language so the old people still are listening to what you're saying. That's a bit of a lesson for you today, so a bit of trivia and things for you guys. But I'm here to do a welcome to country for the Mines, Petroleum and Exploration. It's an honour for me to actually acknowledge the Honourable David Michael, MLA. Again, second meeting with His Excellency, and also to acknowledge Chris Shaw, Director General of the department. And more importantly, I like to actually really acknowledge people like Brittany and the people who organised this wonderful day today. Because without them, they do the little groundwork and the 1%ers, as we call them. Because without them, the little jobs wouldn't be done for big jobs of today. So I'd like to actually acknowledge those people for getting it together and for giving me a job for the day too. So, I had to get up early and so I was up at 6:30 this morning. But, it's always good to get up for the day because I every day I wake, I've had my right foot amputated, my toes. It's been a couple of years of struggle for me. When you get beautiful days like today outside, you just can't wait to get out of bed. You just can't wait to get out and do things positive for the day. And I always look at the sense that, we go out doing things for the day, but there are people out there that's worse off than what we are. People that are waking up on the corner streets and things, looking for breakfast. So, I do thank God above for giving me a house, meals and things like that. Welcome to countries have always been established since time began. Since Marmanura, God above, God of all creation, gave us the rights to be the carers and the keepers of this wonderful land that now we all share. Hence reasons why Aboriginal people have always understood the very, very existence of every animal and every creature, every insect, that it has a meaning to land, to the people, and to day-to-day life. And we understood the boundaries without having fences. We understood the very, very markings within the river systems and the trees of our part of Whadjuk country, and to not venture off into someone else's land without having permission. So that's why we give welcome to countries, to Whadjuk country, or whether it be Whadjuk or Wangata or the other clans within Western Australia. But it actually shows the respect to the Demaka Mamaga, the grandmothers and grandfathers before us, in entering their country. It gives us safety and it gives us a blessing for them old people to stand there and acknowledge and realise that today's society is still doing the right thing the right way. So all I like to say is yarn by yarn, wanju. Wanju, wajak puja, ngan puja, ngalaka puja. Puja deman garra mama garra puja. So hello and welcome. Welcome to Whadjuk country, my country, your country, and our country. Lands of my grandmothers and grandfathers before me. So as I stand here looking at everyone seated, my heart is happy, strong and proud still to be carrying on the oldest living continuous culture within the world. So next time we see each other, may we greet each other with respect. May we have the patience to listen, always sit and listen to the many, many stories that comes from not only my grandmothers and grandfathers, but your grandmothers and grandfathers, because that's what has made Australia the mighty nation it is, the continent that it is. The stories coming together, stories from the dream time, the colonial times, yesteryear, today and tomorrow. But what we must always remember, we've got to keep this country the best that we can keep it, to give it to our grandmothers and our grandchildren and our children. We must teach them the ways of the world and the land so that they can understand and pick up from where we leave it. So the song that I love singing, I sing with honour, with pride, because it's from my Whadjuk family in Kings Park, where my great-great-great-great-grandmother was born, and who happened to actually see the arrival of the settlers into this country. And it's called Wana Regan Malana, but for 4 days, 4 nights, our men would sit in around 3 locations, one in Kings Park, one in Vic Park, South Perth, and one near Matagarup Bridge. And they would sing the energies of their life from their body, their soul, and their spirits into these trees, which actually formed the first 133 songlines that exist all over Australia. And so as we go on tomorrow may one day we sit down and teach each other the song lines, show each other the song lines for the very existence of the human race. It's called Wana Reikan Malana, and it goes a bit like this. Wana Reikan Malana, Wana Reikan Malana, Poyongada Waninga, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare kan malana, Boyongada Waningo. Wanare kan malana, Wanare kan malana, Boyongada Waningo, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare kan malana, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare kan malana, Wanare kan malana, Boyongada Waningo, Boyongada Waningo, Wanare kan malana, Boyongada Waningo. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely day. God bless.